Hello guys, I did a video previously about, it was my first video actually that I uploaded to YouTube. Just a little bit of fun, trying to give people some tips and whatever as a bit of an introduction to learning rockabilly style guitar. I did a first video. If you missed it, I'll leave a link below in the description to this video. If you missed it, you can go back and have a look, because this is a bit of a follow-on from the first video. Anyone who's watching again, thanks for coming back, you know, that's great. Hopefully you got a little bit of something gained from the first video that we did, and this video, like I say, is going to carry on from that. So if you're just diving into this video, the second video, recommend that you go back to number 1, give that a watch, and just kind of get up to date to where we're at right now. Although I am just about to tell you where we left off anyway. So firstly, before you do anything, make sure your guitar's in tune. There's apps you can download on your phone if you don't want to buy a pedal or anything. I mean, a decent pedal is more accurate, and you know, it's better to have, but you can get apps. I think there's one called Pro Guitar Tuner, something as simple as that. I use an Android phone. I'm not an Apple guy, but it's available and it's free. It's free. It does show you some adverts, but wait 10 seconds, click X on the adverts, and just tune a guitar up. Don't guess, don't play out of tune, don't play in the wrong key, because sometimes your guitar slips and you don't realise. Then you tune the rest of the strings from your E string and it's all out. You're playing an E flat rather than E, or something like that, or you're playing an F rather than E. That's even worse. But anyway, make sure your guitar is in tune. On the first video, we started looking at a little bit of like an introduction into finger picking style, like a Scotty style rockabilly, the early Sun records, and a lot of rockabilly guitarists in the early mid-50s were playing sort of finger picking style. It does cross over into country, cross over into some jazz and blues, but specifically, got a bit of a dodgy jack on this at the moment, and he's seen to bit of a Staffordshire twang coming out there. Yeah, so it does cross over, and it's available to hear in many styles. I mean, it's adapted into other genres and whatever, but we're specifically looking at sort of Scotty style. If you listen to the early Elvis Sun recordings, That's Alright Mama, Mystery Train, Blue Moon of Kentucky, You're a Heartbreaker, I'd slip that in, one of my favourite ones. That's the style. If you're not familiar with the style, if you're kind of curious about what that's all about, definitely recommend listening to the early Elvis Sun recordings, and specifically Scotty Moore's guitar playing. Anyway, we were looking at the alternate bass. There we go. I'll get it sorted for the next video, I promise. We were looking at the alternate, what you're doing with your thumb on this kind of finger picking style. So hopefully you guys have been having a look at that, and we sort of went into like an offbeat using the three. I was using the 3 fingers just for the Mystery Train sort of example. So it's almost like a 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. It's got the offbeat between the 3 and the 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that's kind of like the rhythm for a classic sort of. Just whatever. But it's like the Mystery Train sort of. You get the gist of what I'm saying anyway. I'm not a teacher, this is just a bit of fun, and hoping you guys can pick a little bit of benefit up from these videos or whatever. So if I waffle on a little bit, I'm just trying to explain the best I can for you guys anyway. So I'm not going to do a full video specifically based on Mystery Train. I just said in the previous video that was the thing that sort of got me learning the easiest way I could learn the alternate picking with the thumb, and then adding in the sort of twiddly bits, the sevenths and the ninths and whatever with your other fingers as well. Anyway, moving on from that, what I want everybody to do on this video is, so if you've been looking at the video previously, you got the alternate picking. We're going to move that. I want everyone to get used to moving that rhythm fluently. It's got to be smooth. It can't be, I know there's a lot of sort of ways around it and different ways of doing it, but let's try to get it smooth. Let's try to get those changes as smooth as Scotty would have done it, I suppose. So we're going to go from, if you've been playing guitar for a while, which I imagine most of you learning how to finger pick will have been playing, you'll know the basic chords for a 12-bar blues. For this example, we're in the key of E. So we're going from E, A, and then we're going to use a B7 rather than a B bar chord. So we're going to use a B7 with the pinky finger on the F sharp on the E string. So that's the second fret on the top E. So we're going to use E, A barred on the 5th fret, and a B with your pinky on the F sharp. That F sharp's quite important. Not essential, but I'll explain more a bit later. So we're going to go the sequence of a 12-bar blues. So we're in the key of E. A, back to the E, B, E. So I want you to keep repeating that until you're comfortable with the chord changes, and also that little bit of a change on the B. So with the E and the A chord, you're playing the same strings: E string, D string, A string, D string. But with the B, I'll get a little bit closer into the camera here. With the B string, you kind of, you're going from the B and you're using that finger going over to like the 5 of B, which is F sharp. So you're playing 1 and 5, B and F sharp with the same rhythm. Anyway, once you've got that nailed, I want you to start doing what we were doing in Mystery Train on the E. I want you to do it on the B. So we're doing that. Just exactly what we were doing on the E. You've got the A chord there. And you're not like barring out like an A chord. You just literally, so you are barring it. You bar, instead of fingering out every string to make a D. You're just going from the A, which is basically an E shape with a bar over the 5th fret, and you're barring onto the D, which would have been the A if you were playing it up here. So when it comes to playing the B, and I mentioned that it was a B7 played up here with your pinky on the note, the F sharp on the top E string. So I want you to get that kind of rhythm. As long as you're keeping that kind of the rhythmic part going, you can go wild with all like the picking out the sort of top strings and doing more like the lead type thing. You can go as offbeat as you want, you can play it on the beat, fill your boots with that kind of thing really, but as long as you keep that rhythm going, keep it chugging along. So, don't go any further until you've at least chugging along with the thumb on the E, the A and the B for now. Don't go anywhere until you've done that. So, hopefully you can pause this while you have a little practice. Rewind, keep coming back to it as much as you like, and if there is any specific questions, I don't mind you commenting below if you feel like it, and I'm happy to ask anything, whether I'm happy to answer any questions, whether you're a beginner or you're an expert or whatever. I don't claim to be an expert, but I'm just kind of showing you my way, what I do. And again, if you can benefit from it, great. But if I can answer the questions, I'll help as much as I can. I'm really enthusiastic about the music, and I love other people being just as enthusiastic as me about it really. So happy to talk rubbish about guitar and rock and roll anytime. So even if it's just useless knowledge, then I'm happy to have a chat and answer whatever I can. So, moving on from that, I'm going to just start showing you a few little sort of bits you can pick out on the top strings whilst keeping the thumb going. I'm just going to show you in the key of E, and then you can transpose this to whatever key you want, whether you're in F, F sharp, G, A flat, A, B flat, what, all up and down the neck. You can sort of pick out and try different things and experiments. You've got to experiment. You can't just always rely on being shown and being force-fed what you should be doing. You know, you've got to have a go yourself and trial and error things, see what works, see what don't work, see where you can move it up and down the neck, see if it works in other keys, you know, make things a little bit more playful and interesting and tasteful, you know. So anyway, I'm just going to readjust my little professional stand here, and I'm just going to show you just this little, it's almost like a little box really that you can follow. So you're in the key of E, you've got the E chord, and we're just going to be picking. Now you're going to obviously keep that, that's going all the time. You've got to keep that going, because that's the whole style. That's what it's all about. It's almost like you're listening to two guitars playing at the same time. You listen to a guitar doing a rhythm. Then there's like another guitar over the top. You're using your fingers, and it almost gives the impression, or it sounds like there's two guitars going at the same time, and it's really important at the time. I'm just going to waffle on a little bit here and just say that at the time, in the early sort of mid 50s, recording equipment wasn't that good, especially the guys sort of using small independent studios on budget recording equipment and stuff. And a lot of guys who claimed they were the sound engineers or the label owners, they weren't actually experienced. They were just trial and error in everything. You hear a lot of rockabilly songs, especially a lot of the obscure stuff, and everything's just so distorted and unbalanced. But I'm not slagging that off, because at the same time, that's kind of what made it what it was. The lack of quality, or the lack of clarity, kind of drove the whole record. You know, you try recreating something on a crystal clear modern recording, you might be able to add distortion, you might be able to do a lot of things, but you're never quite getting what they were getting. There's just something about it. I don't know the ins and outs, but it's there, and if you listen to it. Anyway, they weren't using drums, they were using a slap bass. I mean, a lot of records use drums, the rock and roll, but in the early days, a lot of those hillbilly and country singers, they were using rhythm guitar, they were using slap bass. Okay, some people had a bit of a honky-tonk piano or a steel guitar and some of the hillbilly and country stuff. When it comes to the rockabilly sort of movements that was happening when Elvis came around and all those kind of cats, they weren't using drums at first. Drums are for parades, boy. If anyone's seen the Buddy Holly story. So what they were doing is they were trying to make everything seem as full as they could for such a little lineup. Acoustic guitar and a singer, Elvis. A guitar player playing the finger picking style, sounding like there was two, but there was only one guy. Then a slap bass, a bass going, plus a percussive sort of sound on top of that, and it made it sound like there was maybe 4, 5 or 6 people in the band, but really there was maybe 3, maybe 4 people. And then on top of that, they were putting echo on stuff. Sun Records, very famous for it. But thanks to Les Paul, we could do a lot with different effects, and it was making a big difference, a huge difference. And you didn't have to pay as many musicians either, so that was always a bonus, I imagine. But so I'm just going to show you this little thing now. It's almost like a box, like what I was saying. So around the say we're on the E string and the B string, you can play them open, and you can also go to the 2nd and 3rd fret, and then again on the B, and you can play around with them 6 notes. You can just trial and error. It's that classic sort of rock and roll run. But them 6 notes, so on the E string it's a G, F sharp and an E, and on the B string it's B, C sharp and a D. So when you're doing the alternate bass picking and you're think you're comfortable to start throwing the top end string stuff, play over them to start off with. Keep going, trial and error on that. I hope this video has been informative again, and like I say, don't be afraid to post any comments or questions below. Don't claim to be a proper qualified teacher by any means, and my theory is very, very basic, but I enjoy playing the guitar. I do lots of shows, and I hope that kind of can, even if you get nothing from the video, just talking about rock and roll, whatever, I hope you enjoy it in some kind of way. So keep watching, we'll post a few more, see how it goes. Thank you, folks.